Tourism, Economic Development, Energy and Environment, and Public Protection. And we thank everybody for joining in with us today. And
while you're waiting for me.
Co-Chair McPherson.
So I've been teased a little bit about my pink jacket today. I've got a lady, a little girl that's in our district that's having heart surgery for about the 6th time. She's like 13, 14 years old. She's in Boston. About every 3 or 4 years, she's having to have surgery because of a defect she had when she was born. So my wife and I are wearing pink for her today. So that's the reason. Thank you all.
What's her name?
Rayleigh Harston. Rayleigh Harston. All the prayers could do.
She's having heart surgery today.
Today at Boston. Yes.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do before we call the roll. I'm going to pray for her, and that'll be all right. Lord, thank you for the day you give us and the blessing to be able to serve you and serve our people. And we pray especially for this young lady going through heart surgery right now. I pray you'd guide the hands of the surgeons, that you'd give them wisdom as they take care of her, Lord. Above all, I pray you'd touch her and be with her and bless her family. And for that, we'll be thankful. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Representative Gooch. Representative King.
Present.
Representative Lehman.
Here.
Representative Wesley. Here. Representative Witten. Here. Representative Bowling. Representative Bray. Representative Petrie. Vice Chair McPherson.
Here.
Chair Fugit.
Here. And we do have a quorum, so I need a motion to approve the minutes from last. Motion, can I get a second? All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, thank you very much. All right, today we have representatives from the Department of Parks. We have our new commissioner, Mark Keelan, right? And you folks that are going to be at the table, come on up and make sure you turn your microphone on. Make sure it's real green looking at you. And then you may start your presentation, and we'll go over some questions that we have. And thank you all for coming. And again, Commissioner, congratulations, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Good afternoon. I know that I'm a new face for most of you all here. I just want to take the opportunity to introduce myself a little bit. I've been in with parks for over 20 years, served as a park manager at John James Audubon State Park for 17 years, and came in Frankfort in 2022 as the Director of Operations for Parks. So I'm very familiar with the projects that we're going to be discussing. I was fortunate enough to be a part of those since 2022. And so as we go through here, like I said, I've been a part of most of these projects, if not all of them. So at this time, I would like to introduce our new Deputy Commissioner, which is Chris Perry. He's sitting right behind me.
Thank you for being here.
So we've had a lot of changes in parks in the last couple of months. And he is also somebody that has worked for parks for 27 years. He started off as a front desk clerk and worked his way up to park manager, and he was a regional administrator for several years of parks, and now he's the deputy commissioner. So in these positions, you have two people that not only know parks, and that's always a positive thing to have the knowledge, but also have the passion to move parks forward. So, and with me is Chief of Staff. Go ahead.
Good morning. Mona Jewett, Chief of Staff for the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet.
Good morning. Scott Baker, Executive Director, Division of Engineering for Finance Cabinet.
Thank you all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss Kentucky State Parks needs and the progress of our capital projects from the funding you all appropriated to update and improve our parks. As you will see in our slide presentation today, we have made great progress. We've been working closely with the Finance Cabinet's Division of Engineering and Contracts Administration by meeting bi-weekly to move these parks forward. And we first started meeting with them weekly, and we've gone to bi-weekly last year or so. Kentucky State Parks is committed to maintaining parks that offer great programs, amenities, and services. Our goal is to create memorable experiences, protect Kentucky's cultural heritage, and preserve the history and natural beauty of our parks for everyone now and in the future. Kentucky is home to 44 state parks that serve as major tourist attractions and employers for many of our rural communities. Parks operations consist of 17 resort parks, 19 recreational parks, 8 historic sites, 1 rail trail, 1 state scenic trail, and Breaks Interstate Park, which we share with Virginia. Within these parks, we have 13 golf courses, 34 pools, 15 marinas, and 30 campgrounds. Here's a breakdown of House Joint Resolution 76, House Bill 553, House Joint Resolution 56, and House Bill 6. We'll go into more detail on the progress of these projects later in the presentation. You should be receiving information from us regularly. We submit quarterly project reports on House Joint Resolution 56 to the Interim Joint Committee on Appropriations and Revenue. That report includes the status of each project. We also submit a quarterly project to the Interim Joint Budget Review Subcommittee on Economic Development, Tourism, and Environmental Protections related to House Bill 6. We appreciate that you have reviewed those and asked us for more details. The next few slides contain the completed projects. As we go through the presentation, we will go into more detail. So as you can see, we have some playground slides, our broadband projects that are currently going on, and then some life safety stuff. The door locking system that we've completed on all of our resort parks, and as you can see, the beach refurbishments at all of our beaches, the building system repairs at Jenny Wiley, the golf course green conversions, and the golf course bunker repairs. To date, Kentucky State Parks has invested approximately $72 million in capital projects. 36 of our 44 state parks have received renovations or upgrades as a result of the funding. 66 projects have been complete, and 17 are currently under construction. The first half of the presentation will focus on House Joint Resolution 76 funding released in April of 2023, focused on campgrounds, utility, and broadband and structural updates and improvements. The projects funded from the $66 million required finance to administer. These projects typically require an RFP to allow for consultant selection, design processes, and requests for bids. Campground upgrades totaled $40 million. This was divided into east and west projects. Kentucky State Parks consist of 30 campgrounds. $2.6 million in bathhouse renovations have been completed by the parks construction team at 16 state parks. And as a side note, one of our biggest complaints that we've had in the past from campgrounds has been the condition of our bathhouses. Campground projects in Western Kentucky include campground redesign, premium lakeview campsites, camper cabin additions, and a campground store and bathhouse replacements. $20 million has been appropriated for these campground projects. We currently have 3 projects under construction, 1 project ready to bid, and 9 projects that have had initial site visits and assessments done by consultants. The Corps of Engineers campgrounds require federal approval as well. Campground projects in eastern Kentucky include installing new water and electrical utility services and additional sewer services to campsites. Other improvements include campsite living spaces, paving of campground roads, site pads, and other ways to enhance our guest experience. Our Eastern Kentucky State Park campgrounds were also appropriated $20 million for upgrades. We currently have 2 projects under construction and 1 project ready to bid. 3 of our state park campgrounds are in design, 2 have been awarded contracts, and 4 have had initial site visits and assessments by the consultants. Cumberland Falls Clifty Bathhouse renovation, which is in design, includes an ADA-approved restroom and shower addition that we built adjacent to the current bathhouse. This is a rendering of the $4 million project to build a new campground at my old Kentucky home, which is under construction and will be completed this year. This slide shows our construction progress. The campground will include an expanded fully renovated campground with 39 full-service campsites. These will include 8 pull-through sites. The campground will include a new modern 1,600 square foot bathhouse new utilities, and new asphalt driveways. This is a rendering of Ken Lake. You can also see here that campground really, there really wasn't a total redesign. It was basically improvement of the current sites. Significant campground projects are taking place at Ken Lake State Resort Park that include major renovations to existing campground sites, as well as new premium Lakeview sites with full service connections and a new bathhouse. New camper cabins units will also go within this renovation. Next, we have a rendering of Carter Caves Campground. Carter Caves State Resort Park Campground is currently undergoing a $3.8 million renovation to enhance the visitors' experience and attract new travelers. As you can see, the upgrades are coming along. The renovation includes the construction of a new store and bathhouse, additional sewer sites, and updated electric and water lines throughout the campground. These improvements are designed to ensure that visitors have access to modern conveniences while enjoying the outdoors. The project is expected to be completed this year. So utility improvements that total $20 million. Kentucky State Parks is currently partnering with the Energy and Environment Cabinet on federal matching grant project that totals almost $20 million. This amount includes $3.5 million matched by state parks. The grant supports the replacement of primary electrical infrastructure at Ken Lake and Kentucky Dam Village State Resort Park. This grid resilience project includes right-of-way clearing, pole and line replacement, and replacement of primary equipment and transformers. The Kentucky State Parks own the primary electrical infrastructure of 14 parks. The age and condition of these systems are no longer able to safely and reliably support the electrical systems for our park operations. The goal is to complete these projects and then turn them over to the local utility providers for management. The parks have become important sheltering locations for many of our Kentuckians affected by natural disasters. The funding for replacing these systems must be elevated to the highest priority for Kentucky State Parks to continue to serve for years to come. And as a side note, we were prepared for this recent winter storm, ready to go for anybody that was distressed, acted as warming centers, and we had one of our state parks that was down for a week for the electrical problems they had there. So wastewater collection systems and improvements. Here are the details on the collection system piping and sewer lift station repairs and upgrades to various state parks. $6.5 million has been appropriated for these projects. EP Tom Sawyer and Barren River Lake were priorities in the west. Natural Bridge and Cumberland Falls are priorities in the east. The design process is underway with three of our state parks, Natural Bridge and EP Tom Sawyer are under construction. Broadband upgrades total $6 million. The Department of Parks has established 15 projects for Wi-Fi at the campgrounds. The Commonwealth's Office of Technology is the lead for these projects. Guest Wi-Fi projects at Carter Caves, Paintsfield Lake, Dell Hollow, and General Butler campgrounds are complete. 4 projects are under construction and 6 projects are in design. All campgrounds will have high-speed internet or will receive upgraded internet as part of these projects. Parks is working closely with the Commonwealth Office of Technology on every one of these projects. COT is working with the project schedule for the remaining campgrounds. COT is also working to accelerate the completion of the schedule by contracting the planning and design of each location to make them move faster. House Joint Resolution 56. House Joint Resolution 56 was appropriated in 2022, released in April of 2024, established 14 capital pool projects. The Department of Parks status of the $71 million for the state parks and improvement projects in House Joint Resolution 56 includes building systems, accommodations, and recreational amenity upgrades. Parks currently has an active project under construction to replace failed systems that control the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment at Barren River Lake Lodge. This project includes the review of all major HVAC equipment and other critical climate control services. Other building systems improvement projects include the replacement of failed cooling towers, chillers, and other HVAC equipment, and 2 new cooling towers at Jenny Wiley. These projects have been completed. Parks is currently engaged in a life safety project centered around guest safety and security. This project includes the replacement of all guest rooms and primary lodge entrance access controls. New key cards and programming software will also be upgraded. $2 million was appropriated for those projects. All 18 state park lock system upgrades are complete. Park employees have commented positively about the improvements, and which have reduced visitor complaints about room keys not working. Other life safety projects include updates and repairs to fire sprinkler systems and major repairs to lodge elevators. The sprinkler system project at John James Audubon and the elevator project at Jenny Wiley and Dale Hollow Lake have been completed. $6.7 million was appropriated for these projects for structural and safety repairs. Currently, 4 projects are under construction. They're listed there. Natural Bridge, Pine Mountain, and Cumberland Falls have been completed. ADA mobility improvements and building systems. $1.1 million has been appropriated for the Dale Hollow ADA accessible pedestrian bridge that leads to the lodge's upper rooms. This project is currently under construction. Should be completed in the next month or so. The $1.3 million EP Tom Sawyer Recreation Building upgrades are under construction. The interior upgrades totaling $2.8 million at Lake Barkley are also under construction. So the next slides, we're going to talk about the accommodation and hospitality upgrades. $21 million has been appropriated towards accommodations and hospitality projects. These projects provide interior renovations and new furniture for those parks prioritized by our team. This includes lodge rooms, cottages, and guest common areas. The design is currently underway, and we regularly scheduled project meetings are held every week with the design team. $20 million has been invested in design and construction to develop a comprehensive master plan and deliver new design theme rooms across the state park system. These designs modernize accommodations while honoring the heritage, natural beauty, and storytelling traditions of Kentucky and Kentucky state parks. The upgraded rooms and common spaces feature warm, welcoming material, regionally inspired details, and contemporary comforts that today's travelers expect. This intentional blend of modern amenities and Kentucky character creates a more inviting atmosphere, improves guest comfort, and helps position our parks as memorable destinations that encourage longer stays, repeat visits, and year-round travel. To date, $1 million has been appropriated to replace mattresses and furniture at 5 resort parks. General Butler and Village Green of Kentucky Dam Village have all new mattresses and wood furniture. Kentucky Dam Village, Ken Lake, Carter Cage received all new mattresses. And then Kingdom Come State Park received new mattresses and furniture for a newly renovated cottage completed by the park's construction staff. So as you see in these pictures, those are renderings of some of the things we have. Been working with a consultant, and this is Lake Barkley. I don't know if you are familiar with the dining area there, and then this is the meeting space that's upstairs. So again, you know, with the consultant, we wanted to have there's a guest room at Lake Cumberland, the proposed guest room, and then there's Barren River. So with the consultant team, we have basically 3 themes, and they're named, but I'll just we have lake theme properties where we want all of our more lake-oriented properties to have the same feel and look across the system. We have more of our mountainous, woody properties that will have the same feel and look. And then we have kind of a Kentucky heritage region, which is kind of central Kentucky. They all have their own unique look, but they'll also all blend together where you'll know that you're at a state park when you go there. So the pool improvements and repairs and beach refurbishment, excuse me, $12 million is dedicated to upgrade Kentucky State Park pools. Several park lodges and community pools were constructed in the 1960s and 70s. These structures need major improvements to offer our guests and local communities the expected experience. A consultant assessed all state parks pools and presented us with a prioritized list of pools to review. Currently, Lake Barkley Pool Project is under construction, which you'll see in the following slides. And nearly $347,000 was dedicated to beach refurbishment to include sand replacement, beach amenities, and safety essentials. So there's the demo of the Lake Barkley Pool, which was kind of iconic, but it was failing. And so that's an example where the consultant came back and it was about $3.7 million to repair a pool that was over 50 years old, or to actually construct a new one would be $5 million. And also, one of the things that have happened over the years, there's been some new legislation where, from an operational standpoint, and all of the projects we do, we look at how the operations is affected. Because this investments, not only do we want to have great products, but we also want to make it more efficient for our workforce and deliver better customer service. But there was a bill that required us to have lifeguards at any pool over 2,000 square feet. And so that was a real strain on us past year. And so the Lake Barkley pool will be 1,999 square feet. So anyway, $12 million was dedicated to upgrade. Oh, sorry, you already did that one. Sorry. All right, here we go. $5 million was has been appropriated to the Pennyroyal Forest Dam due to its failing structure. The design process is complete. The project is pending review by the Division of Water and the Corps of Engineers. The estimated construction start date is September 2026. As we've mentioned in several of our other presentations, the $1.2 million was dedicated to playground upgrades. As you can see, all 13 projects have been complete. Guests, especially children, are excited about the completed playgrounds. Many employees have relayed positive guest feedback about the new playgrounds. Additionally, all of our playgrounds have ADA or limited mobility components to them. Golf course improvements. $8.5 million has been dedicated to golf course improvements, including golf course irrigation replacements, Bermuda greens conversions, and bunker repairs. Using Bermuda grass has a proven track record of reducing maintenance costs and improving playability. $2.6 million was used to repair bunkers and mitigate many of the earthwork slides that have developed at different locations. This project is critical to protect the existing investment made in parks golf courses. Golf participation has continued to increase at Kentucky State Parks. These repairs are vital to maintaining safe, high-quality courses that meet visitor expectations. These investments protect prior improvements while positioning state park golf courses to attract more golfers, support regional tourism, and encourage golfers and golf leagues to return. So this is House Bill 6. So park leadership and tourism, arts, and heritage cabinet leadership have been in recent meetings with Pennyroyal RECC to open dialogue and begin planning electrical infrastructure projects at Lake Barkley State Resort Park. Funding for this project was established from the Utility and Infrastructure Replacement fiscal year appropriation from House Bill 6, authorized in the 2024 budget session. Jenny Wiley Marina replacement project is in construction. Currently, dredging of the Marina Channel is underway. In 2024, House Bill 6 allocated over $63 million for state park improvements. We currently have 4 projects in design, 1 project out to bid, 3 projects under construction, and 6 projects under construction, 3 projects under contract. Some of these projects include the following: Yatesville Lake State Park Marina Replacement Project contract has been awarded. Part of the assessment for this required underwater divers to perform underwater inspections of the marina structure. Cumberland Falls State Resort Park has been evaluated by consultants for guest room renovations. The contract for the guest room reconfiguration has been awarded with construction scheduled to start this year. Wastewater treatment plant upgrades will continue with the wastewater plants that needed them but were not included in the previous rounds of funding based on priority. The plants at Dell Hollow and Blue Licks Battlefield will be renovated or replaced. Jenny Wiley Marina replacement is currently under construction. I already said that. The utility infrastructure replacement, phase 2, will include electrical projects that coincide with the grid resiliency project at Kentucky Dam Village and Ken Lake. Additional unplanned critical infrastructure projects are also being addressed. So that's Cherokee Park. That structure it's currently under construction. And again, there's a lot of stuff going on at Lake Barkley, from interior repairs, pool replacement, structural, roof replacement. We have also a project that is addressing their exercise or their I'm trying to think of exercise fitness center. There you go. Their fitness center there too. Not playing.
It's not playing on their
It's not
screen.
playing there.
We had a cool flyover of Barkley, but it's not playing. So we'll talk a little bit about the new budget request. Kentucky State Parks always needs investment, and we appreciate the strong support from this administration and the General Assembly. Because we are already receiving major capital project funding this budget session, we are focused on finishing those projects and taking care of funding that's already been provided. We are requesting $40 million for our maintenance pool, a $20 million increase from the prior year. We're requesting $20 million because after allocating $3 million to the maintenance operations branch, $3.5 million to the construction branch, $500,000 to the planning and design branch, and $250,000 to the sign shop branch, we're left with roughly $2.5 to $3 million for any emergency maintenance needs that arise. That may sound like a substantial amount, but it's actually pretty limited when you distribute across 44 state parks and their extensive maintenance needs. This amount often isn't enough to cover even routine repairs, let alone larger projects like emergency repairs after storms. As a result, parks are forced to prioritize only the most urgent needs, leaving many important maintenance tasks unfunded and potentially jeopardizing the visitor experience. Due to cost escalations seen in the last 3 to 4 years, this increase maintains our ability to support parks maintenance and other capital replacements for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing repairs and replacement projects. The $40 million maintenance investment addresses critical needs that ensure Kentucky State Parks remain safe and functional. It allows us to be proactive in replacing systems that we know are operating far beyond the expected life of these systems. Replacing these systems not only improves downtime of the emergency repairs, but saves operational dollars from constant maintenance repairs and upkeep, and improves guest satisfaction. This funding will allow Kentucky State Parks to protect and extend the life of the state existing assets. It will support essential maintenance of park facilities, including routine upkeep, critical repairs, and preventative work needed to keep lodges, cottages, campgrounds, trails, and infrastructure safe and fully functional. It will also allow us to purchase maintenance equipment necessary to care for properties and address issues in a timely manner. Most importantly, this investment prioritizes preventative maintenance, helping avoid costly emergency repairs and reducing long-term expenses. This will help us keep up with repairs and maintenance, finish what we have started, and not stretch our resources too thin. By focusing on the maintenance now, we are protecting the state's investment and planning wisely for future needs. I would like to have an additional thank you to our partners, especially the Energy and Environment Cabinet, the Finance Cabinet, West Kentucky Rural Electric Co-op, as well as some of our local county and city governments. The Parks Facilities Management Division is managing 284 more capital projects, totaling almost $70 million that you didn't see here today, in addition to the projects we discussed. Many of these are internal parks facilities management projects, while others are being managed alongside the finance cabinet. Now I'd like to pass it on to Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, committee, and pleasure to be here with you today. You've just heard a pretty comprehensive overview from the Department of Parks on the work underway across the Kentucky State Park system. My role today is to briefly explain to you how DECA supports that work, the scale we manage, and why your legislative support has been essential to our success. DECA serves as the statewide administrator of the Commonwealth's capital construction program. That volume reflects, at this time, DECA oversees approximately 1,335 active capital construction projects. That volume reflects not just activity, but the systems required to ensure public safety, fiscal accountability, procurement integrity, and timely delivery across a very extraordinarily diverse portfolio, from parks to prisons to so forth and so on. With that broader program, Kentucky State Park represents one of our most visible and operationally complex portfolios. These are facilities that must remain open, support tourism and local economies, and continue operating safely while construction is underway. Of the approximately 1,335 projects managed statewide, 149 currently are dedicated to the Department of Parks. These include 85 projects that are in the design phase, establishing the foundation for future improvements, and 64 projects actively under construction, delivering immediate and tangible benefits. The substantial majority of these projects are funded through the legislative appropriations that have been reflected in what Mark has just relayed. As previously noted by Mark, we are currently conducting coordination meetings on a bi-weekly basis. Earlier period, we were doing this weekly, and even more than that, to accelerate the initial project initiation, and this focused and deliberate quick start approach proved to be very effective in strengthening the coordination between our cabinets and to get these projects out in an efficient and disciplined manner. This work expands the entire Commonwealth. For example, in eastern Kentucky, we're managing 10 active projects at the Jenny Wiley State Resort Park, including lodge renovations, infrastructure repairs, new visitor amenities, including the new marina, new archery range, all of these projects being supported by these legislative investments. At the opposite end of the state, in far western Kentucky, we have 16 active capital projects at the Lake Barkley State Resort Park, with 11 currently under construction, addressing lodge enhancements, pools, and major other infrastructure needs. These examples highlight DECA's ability to manage geographically dispersed, technically complex projects while maintaining consistent standards statewide. None of this progress can happen without strong partnership. DECA provides engineering and architectural oversight, design review, contract bidding and award administration, construction compliance, and dedicated project management throughout the full life cycle and warranty of the project. I want to be very clear, the additional DECA project managers that have been dedicated to park projects has been transformative. The administration prioritized the execution of the over $200 million in capital projects over the last two budgets, and this partnership with Parks and the Finance Cabinet has significantly increased the progress of these projects. These additional DECA projects managers expanded capacity, accelerated delivery, reduced risk, and allowed Parks projects to move forward without competing against the other urgent needs of our other statewide priorities. Some of these project managers are here with us today, and others are on job sites right now, ensuring that our appropriations and your appropriations translate into real results. I also want to recognize the DECA project managers and support staff working alongside the Department of Parks. Their expertise and field presence ensure that taxpayer dollars are being used efficiently and facilities deliver lasting value. In closing, Kentucky State Parks are improving. Tourism and local economies are benefiting, and decades of deferred maintenance are being addressed. That progress is a result of a strong partnership between the legislature, Parks, and DECA. Continued legislative support for staffing, funding, and capital authorizations remains essential to sustain this momentum. Thank you very much for your leadership and investment. We and our Parks partners welcome your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your presentation. I've just got a few questions on. Do you all have a copy of the House Joint Resolution 56 with you, or is it just you just had those parts on the presentation?
No, we don't have a copy of it.
Okay.
We have the-
So, first of all, I'd like to have a copy of that presentation. If you could email that to all the members of the committee. If you look back, and I've got a copy of the resolution, so I don't expect you to be able to answer all my questions, but I'd like for you to get the answers. So, there was $6,883,200 for the building systems repair and replacement projects. I know that some of those have been done. I think there was one that was completed. But do you have money left over in that portion that would finish the projects that are listed on House Joint Resolution 56? Do you have the RFPs and all that on the remaining projects that are not done? Do you have enough money? What's the cost? If you go on to the next item, there was $7 million for structural and safety repairs, and there's about 21 different parks listed. Same question: do you have how many of those projects that are listed? Because we got these. If I'm not mistaken, the money amounts and the park listings came from a request from a former Commissioner Meyer and his staff at that time. And I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. And maybe Representative Bray or Bowling could correct me if I'm wrong. So, what are those projects completed? How many completed? Do we have money left over of that $7 million that will do part of them or all of them? And the same question, really on $5 million for the dam safety reconstruction and repairs. 1.2 on recreation buildings. Really, just I'd like for you to go through that House Joint Resolution 56 at some point. And there was $11,955,000 for pool improvements. How many of those pools? And I understand that some of those estimates or RFPs were not really current with inflation costs and different. And maybe they wouldn't. A consultant didn't actually go out there and look at it, or so how many of those pools were replaced, fixed? Is there pools that you thought was going to cost $1 million, but it ended up going to be $2.4 million, so you put that off? I'd like to know how much money's left over in House Joint Resolution 56, and then on the electrical parts of the electrical, the primary electrical monies that we gave to update the state parks from the point that the electrical companies stopped and then the state took it on. How much of that money do we have left? How many of those parks are complete? And I understand there's a secondary a cost too that was not included. I understand that, but how much of that primary money have we spent? What parks are completed? And I think that that's all that I'll have. Except I would say this also. Mr. Baker's talked of strong partnerships. I feel like we need to be more involved. You all have weekly meetings with each other. Is there a way, Commissioner, that maybe we, Co-Chair McPherson and I, could once a month, you all come in and say, and it don't have to be you personally, but your staff come in and say, this is where we're at on this project, this is where we're at on this project, these are the completed projects, just so that we have an understanding, because when I leave April 15th, when we leave April 15th of this year, we really don't keep track of everything that's going on. And I think I need to do a better job of knowing what's going on while the years pass. And so we know from year to year what monies the parks needs, what monies that we need to appropriate and again, I talked about this before. I'm not sure that we don't need to go to some kind of a 6-year plan, like transportation. They'll have monies just for design or to design a road, and then they'll come back and say, this is the design, we need money for construction. Maybe, and we can talk about that later. But that's the questions that I have. We just want to make sure that the monies that we appropriated in House Bill 6, Joint Resolution 76 and 56, that those monies have been used, and how much money is left of that before we appropriate $200 million more. If we can't use the money that's already in the budget that's been given to parks or appropriated to parks, do we really need to appropriate more money until we use the money that we've got? And I hope you understand what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and again, I appreciate you all coming. Representative
Well,
McPherson.
to make a couple comments of what
Yes,
you
sir.
said, I feel like, all the monies that we have received over the last couple of years, which is a little over $270 million, has either in the process of being spent or they're in the design phase to be spent. And I think that some of the complexities of that, and I totally agree that we need to be meeting more often, and everybody needs to be kind of informed, because we typically have to punt and look at things differently, because we're doing these projects, something comes up where we have to divert the money somewhere else because there's an emergency need. And to your point of a 6-year plan, we have a 6-year capital plan. But what we have now, the first time we've probably had since I can remember, is we have accurate information from consultants who have gone out and looked at all of our campgrounds, looked at all of our pools, looked at all of our resort parks, and we actually have numbers that I feel very confident with, where we can put together a 6-year plan as a result, as an example for resorts, and prioritize those. And so I think that what you're asking for internally, we can do now that we have that information.
Okay, thank you. Representative McPherson.
So I would just like to reiterate a little bit of what's been said, but again, ask another question or two. But, again, we don't want to whip a dead horse, because we've been asking for this for 3 or 4 years now. And I do appreciate your transparency to come forward and to break down these projects one by one. That's what we've been asking for. We want to see these photos that are being worked through and progress being made. We realize that I think probably the most important statement was made was decades of not keeping up with where we were, and then all at once we figure out that we've got 44 state parks that desperately need some help. How do you tackle an elephant in the room one bite at a time? We understand that. We appreciate the reporting to that, the transparency that Chair Fugate have asked for. I think we just need to have some trust back in the room here that what we're appropriating is getting done, and getting done in an appropriate time frame, and that the estimates are not just fuzzy, that they're real estimates, and that they can be done with the monies. So for that to be said, can you all tell us, out of the 210, 270, wherever you want to be, how much money you have left at this time to complete the projects that you are trying to complete or have on the books?
Okay. So of the 150 that was from 2022, we have approximately 30 million that has been encumbered, and then approximately 40 million that has actually been spent. So there's about $66 million that's left of that. Now, again, most of those are all in design and in various stages of completion. They just haven't gone out to bid yet. From the money appropriated in 2024, 129 million, we have approximately 15 million of that has been encumbered, and 3.75 has been spent. So a lot of those projects too, that first year the money was for design, and we just received, recently 4 months ago or 5 months ago, the money to actually do construction in July. So, but a lot of those projects are under construction. We have, a couple of things out there where we're waiting on some other information, or like the partnership with Audubon, with the city and county of Henderson, waiting for some some additional information from that as well. But there's nobody in the room that's more frustrated about how fast things go than me, because I go out there and I see the need every day. And so, I'm going to be dedicated as long as I'm doing this to make sure that we're expediting this as quickly as we can.
So sitting in our position, you're looking at, we've appropriated this money, and 2 or 3 years later, you're still coming back and saying, I've still got this much in the coffers that haven't been spent. So knowing that we do this every 2 years, and is it fair to say that we need this money spent before we reappropriate money to be spent?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of complex projects. You talk about the electrical infrastructure. We're talking about, we're not just replacing meters. It's a small city, and it takes 18 to 24 months of design. That Kentucky Dam Village and Ken Lake project, from West Kentucky's assessments, because they're doing the work, they knew it was going to take 1.5 to 2 years before they had boots on the ground. So there are a lot of things that are very that take time for a lot of different reasons. I do feel we can do a better job. Absolutely, we have over 600 projects, and with limited staff, of course, we're going to have things that fall through the cracks a little bit. But I totally get your perspective. But I think that's when we have those conversations, when we're actually meeting, that we can all look at those things. And I have a new perspective from our meeting last night about where you all are coming from. So, and I feel like, you think about an accommodations project. If you were to take, we put together a 6-year plan, and you say, okay, we're going to work on this 6-year plan. We're going to give X amount of dollars, and we're going to do these 3 resorts. We're a year away from construction on those resorts after we get the money, just because we already have bookings, we have weddings, we have all this stuff. So there's a lot of integral planning, because we're in the hospitality business, that you don't have if you're renovating a building. You can't just relocate people to another office. So there's that in consideration as well. The governor and the administration put it on us in 2023 to get these things done, and I feel like we've been working as diligently as we can. This partnership between DECA and Parks hasn't always been there, so there has been, before 2023, there probably has been some real frustrations because we did not work well together, and we don't have that now.
So the last thing I'll say is that instead of coming before this committee or the A&R committee or whomever and giving us large sums of numbers that just give it to us in this pot and this pot and this pot in these silos, that didn't work too well in the past, and I would really implore you to go out and get good hard numbers with good projects that are properly ranked. And we always know that best laid plan of mice and men go astray. We understand that. We understand that you've got situations that come up, but we need to know that you're moving in a forward direction in a positive manner with real numbers and not just pools of numbers that you can decide wherever you want it to go once you get it there. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Representative Bowling.
Thank you, Chairman Fugit. Thank you all for being here today. And just building off kind of what's already been talked about and what we talked about yesterday evening as well. Representative McPherson, he mentioned the $270 million. The General Assembly since 2018 has authorized $409 million in bonds for the state parks. So in addition to that 270, the remainder of that, how much has been utilized, where did it go, and just the information on that would be very helpful. And I don't know how long it'll take you to do that. You think you can get that back to us in 2 to 3 days?
I know for the 279 that we're talking about, we have that information. So from a number standpoint, now if you want some more narrative on some of this stuff, it may take a little bit longer, but the other would require us going back and looking through all those old projects, and I would say that we can get that to you in a reasonable amount of time. I don't know if 2 days would be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get that to us as quickly as possible, that'd be very helpful. And then one other, it's more just a comment, but I mean, the communication, as we talked about last night, it's got to get better. It's got to improve. It's not good for our state. It's terrible for the citizens, for the taxpayers, and it's got to improve. In 23, Lake Barkley Emergency repairs, $7.5 million. And as of December this year, from the reports that y'all have submitted to us, $1.9 million has been spent. Jenny Wiley, $5.5 million. Again, emergency repairs. You think that's something that, we need to hop on pretty quickly. As of December, the latest information we have, about $400,000 have been spent. So, that's $13 million in bond authorization that we let out, and only $2.3 million has been spent for emergency situations over a 3-year period. And if somebody asked me, like, well, why is that? I couldn't give them a straight answer. I don't know. We don't have that information. Same thing, campgrounds, $40 million in 2023. Latest information we have, $6.3 million spent. So there's roughly $34 million somewhere in there. And I know you all are still working through this. I'm sure there's updated data and updated information that we don't have yet. But then that's the information we're looking at as we go in to build our budget. And then we see an agency budget request for an additional $20 million. And we're looking at it, we're saying there's $34 million. Like, well, why are we asking for $20 million more when we don't? This first $40 million hasn't gone all the way out. Same thing on pools, $12 million in 2024. The data we had to date in December was $655,000 had been spent. And then there's an additional ABR that we see for $31 million. And, you still got $11.5 million from the appropriation or from the joint resolution we let out in 24. So we got to work on this together. Our state parks are too important to our people, to our state. And, we're willing partners, and hopefully we can work together and iron some of this out moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Wesley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a question about one of our parks in my district, Natural Bridge. For years, I've been going over there trying to address some issues that has been going on for quite a while, several years. And I get messages all the time about the bathrooms, Hold Down Island. Nothing's been fixed, and yet money keeps being given. And we're not here pointing at you. We just want to know what's being done in our parks here. Taxpayers that are here that is wanting an answer from us. And so is there anything that you could address me today on Natural Bridge State Park, what has been updated? We know that the money's been appropriated for it, but nothing's been done on our end. I don't know about the other parks.
Yeah, Natural Bridge, we've had several projects that we've done, some wastewater projects, redoing some of the bathhouses there in the actual Clifty Fall, or not Clifty, but the 2 campgrounds there, and some infrastructural work has been done there, but there was no money earmarked or line item for, like, Hold Down Island as an example. But, it goes to decades and decades of not having the amount of money to invest in our parks, and we can't bite it off all at one time. And a lot of times, until this last money was spent, it was basically we were doing things on an emergency standpoint, like when something breaks, we fix it. And so, that's, as of right now, I don't know of any projects for specifically Hold Down Island, but a lot of we redid a bridge there at Natural Bridge, a structural issue there. But a lot of Natural Bridges stuff was probably things you don't see. A lot of infrastructural type stuff there.
A quick follow-up, sir.
Yeah.
Real quick, got about 2 minutes.
On the bathroom issues, we've had people send me pictures of the bathrooms just absolutely destroyed, and we didn't know when that was going to be took care of. The Hold Down Island, I went and talked to the director, and he said the request has been turned in for years. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what kind of answer to give not only my constituents but the director.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I can get you one.
All right, thanks, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any other questions? During the interim, maybe we could work something out on our monthly tourism meeting where we meet in our office prior to that meeting, an hour before. We'll talk later about just a monthly meeting so we can get our minds wrapped around it, see where the money's going, because we really do want to see our parks we want to see you all succeed. We want to see the park succeed and make Kentucky a better place to visit, right? All right, thank you very much for coming today. This will conclude the meeting. We will meet next Tuesday, 11 o'clock, same room. We are adjourned. Thank you.